I am here.
You're with me. I thought I was going to go solo on the top of the show.
As if by magic, as if by the magic of transatlantic ropey internet, I am here. Welcome, everyone. We were having a few teething problems before you joined us. Welcome to the 5th edition in the 2nd season of Cocktails and Conversation, our post-Derby show. It's a very special show for a whole myriad of reasons, but it's Nick Luck from Teddington, Southwest London, alongside Brittany Earton, who has flown all the way home to the West Coast in California. And I've got to say, I miss you already.
I miss you too, though your flight was a little bit longer than mine was, but I'm glad that you got back home. Firstly, glad you got into our country. Also glad that you got back home to your family. How was the Derby experience for you this time around? I know it was your 2nd Kentucky Derby, but a little different.
Very different. And it was just so energizing and so uplifting to be with other people, and not just a few other people, socially distanced, outdoors, under a heater, with 60-odd thousand other people in a wonderful, iconic sporting location where the weather was nice, which helped us all. And just to see genuine warmth and smiles on people's faces, it made you really appreciate what, before we started doing this show in April 2020, we all took for granted: each other's company and the shared experience of watching the sport that we love and taking great pleasure in it. And I actually found it both Friday and Saturday, particularly when the anthems were being played and the horses were coming out onto the track, really a really moving experience, a deeply moving experience, in fact.
I think it was really special to everybody that was on site that day, and also watching from home, because as we saw, the numbers were incredible. And it goes to show that the Kentucky Derby still really means something to people. Over 15 million watched the Kentucky Derby, the most exciting 2 minutes in sports, when Medina Spirit won underneath John Velazquez, giving him his 4th Kentucky Derby win. I think it was a special moment to have it back in its rightful place the first Saturday in May with a crowd there. Yes, it was a smaller crowd, but you still felt that energy. And it's something that I've said quite a bit now that fans are allowed back, is they bring an energy that only fans can bring. So thank you to those that were watching. Thank you to those that are supporting this industry through and through, because we know that the past year and a half has been difficult for so many, but I hope that there's light at the end of the tunnel, because that's what it feels like.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And yeah, I think horse racing last weekend was a winner. I think global sport was a winner. I've been really struck by the amount of people here saying to me how much they enjoyed just tuning in and watching and feeding off the energy. Mm-hmm. And I've come home and it's, no criticism of anybody here who all follow the right protocols, and we're doing our thing our way. But, it made you really realize how much the extent to which here we are chugging towards, getting any semblance of normalcy back. And I think the state of Kentucky did as good a job as they could have done in the circumstances.
Well, as we look forward to Royal Ascot for you, which is one of the biggest meetings, and it will be very different, do you think that what happened in Kentucky, having fans there's something that Royal Ascot could maybe take away from seeing that event move forward?
Well, it's hard because you can't be an outlier as a racetrack here. You have to shelve in with everybody else, and it's not. You haven't got the state-to-state situation that you've got in the US. So really, everyone here has to agree on the policy that's laid down, at the bottom line by the government. So, whilst there will be disagreements between various government departments, without wishing to get too political about it, for a sporting body, you really just have to do what the Department of Culture, Media and Sport tells you to do, and that is follow the government staging post. So 17th of May, we will get some crowds back. 21st of June, just after Royal Ascot, we will get something more approximating full crowds. But I still don't think it'll be as free as that Derby experience. I still think it'll be fairly heavily policed, and there'll probably still be some kind of zoning going on that we didn't see the other day. So
we'll talk a lot of Derby, obviously, in this episode with the 4-time Kentucky Derby winner, John Velazquez. And I am really thrilled to have breeder Gail Rice on here. What a story that we told quite a bit throughout the show, but it's so nice to see things all kind of unfold and come through like they did.
I mean, I don't know. I told the story a few times, not as many times as you informed people of the COVID protocols, but we we were definitely fully availed of both stories. But I had a brief chat with Gail just because I wanted to touch base with her earlier in the week and chatted to her on my podcast. And I don't want to give everything away, but I was so struck by just her sheer joy at the bare fact of breeding a Kentucky Derby winner. Nothing else mattered, not the money, not the fact that she'd sold the horse for $1,000, whatever. It's that's what you're in the game for. If you're a small breeder, yeah, that's the ultimate. You want to breed a horse to win the Derby.
It goes to show it's possible too. A horse that sold as a yearling for $1,000, sold at a 2-year-old in training sale for $35,000. Yes, I know it was Bob Baffert that trained the horse, but it does make it possible. Not for $1 million horses always winning the Kentucky Derby. This was a $35,000 horse, and he was all heart in winning the Kentucky Derby. So really excited to talk about that. Where is our third musketeer? Where is Mark Tuberty?
Well, Mark, I'm told, had some cocktail kit delivery issues this evening, which sounds quite alarming. But I'm confident that he'll be along because he's got a couple of very important tasks to perform this evening.
That he does. We have 2 delicious cocktails coming up. But without further ado, because I know we don't have him for very long, we are so lucky that he's joining us in between riding at Belmont Park. That is the 4-time Kentucky Derby winning jockey, John Velazquez, is in the house. Johnny!
Hi, guys.
Hey, Johnny.
First and foremost, congratulations.
I had to run up to my car. I had to run up to my car because otherwise I was not going to hear anything down there. It's a madhouse in the jockey's room, so I had to come up to my car.
Well, thank you for joining us. I mean, I know you're a busy guy. You've made your way back to New York. What was it like after getting that big victory and going back home?
This is what I call back to reality. When you're coming from a really high and to the normal work, basically, you know what I mean? But it's exciting. I mean, still, sorry guys, it's still exciting. Still, feel up in the clouds. So very happy, definitely.
Was there something sweeter about it because it wasn't expected by everybody? Did that almost make it more special in some ways?
I don't know. I mean, I like the horse though. From riding in Santa Anita twice, he won 2 really good races though. So I did like them. So I wasn't that surprised with Fruit-Agave. Maybe for the people outside, they didn't think much of him. Maybe it's more sweeter for me than the people that didn't pick him. But I did like him. I did like him a lot. And I even told Bob, I mean, I like this little horse. He's so hard, and I like the things that he's done. I mean, the 2 races that he ran in California, obviously, Bob, the horse, he freaked that day, went on to the lead and never stopped. And then, obviously, the second time was basically the same thing. But I still liked him, though. And he still ran 2 really good, tough races. And obviously, it worked out our way. Not much speed on that race, other than the other horse, who broke bad, by the way. And that was it. We know we had a little horse. They had a big heart.
Take me a day backwards, though. Kentucky Oaks Day on Malathaat. What an incredible victory. She had the pedigree to get that Kentucky Oaks win, but there were so many layers to that win. For you, how special was that moment?
Very special. Obviously, me traveling back and forth between, Florida and California and then Kentucky. I kind of lost that mountain and going to Keeneland, but very grateful for the owners and Todd to put me back on her. Yeah, I mean, what a good horse. Didn't work out the way I planned. The way she broke out of there was a little slow, and I didn't want to be in that position. I had to make changes right away. 3 jumps out of the gate. I asked her to do something, and she got into the position I wanted. And obviously, I was following Ira Ortiz's horse, which I thought that was the horse to be, and the other horse was on the lead. And Ira was putting pressure to the horse who was second, so I was very comfortable where I was. Once I had the position that I thought it was good for her, I was pretty pleased with her. I mean, by the quarter pole, I knew that she's going to finish though, because that's when she started running. But I did not know that I was going to get to the lead that soon. By the way, I thought the other horse I ride was going to take me a little longer to pass him down the lane. And when I asked my horse, she responded so quickly that I got to the lead a little sooner than I wanted to. And then she started waiting. But not only waiting, now she started leaning on him, though, you know. So now I have to be careful. I don't want to bother him either. I don't want to be disqualified. But on the other hand, I have to make sure I keep him as tight as I can. So, you know, it worked out great. What a two good horses. We have to give that to both of the horses.
Yeah.
And very happy. Yes.
Johnny, this image was, I thought, the image of the weekend, and it'll probably win the Eclipse Award as well. Irad congratulating you after the race. I know you are great sports, and I know you all have a real bond. But was this, do you think, because you both appreciated what a fantastic horse race you'd been in? There aren't many races where you get two really lock up like that and serve it up for the crowd.
Absolutely. I mean, look at the show that these two horses showed and down the lane, though. You know, that was a fight. That was a really two champions fighting against one another. And obviously, Irad is a champion himself, you know. So I have a lot of respect for him. And this kid, he's like my son too. I mean, they're all out. You know, I'm the old one in the jockeys room now. But these are the kids who came from Puerto Rico looking up to me. And I have pictures with these two kids, with him and his brother, when they were 10 and 11 years old. So he's how long I know these kids. So very proud of him. Very proud of his reaction. We know that I'm pretty much the same way when we go back to the jockeys room when they win these big races, you know. So his reaction was priceless for him to react just like that right out of the wire, though, you know. And I was just laughing, really, you know. I was just smiling because he would just keep congratulating me, though, you know. He didn't know what else to say. So it was a great moment, you know, and people appreciate it too.
I loved it because I've done multiple interviews with Irad before, and he will say when asked that you are his idol. You are the one that he grew up wanting to be. And he's obviously had so much success himself that seeing that photo, you could see a young, very talented rider so thrilled for a man that he dreamed to become. What did he say to you?
He just keep congratulating me. It's like, I'm so happy. Congratulations. I'm so happy. I know it's you, but like he just couldn't really get words out. He just keep telling me congratulations, though, you know. So it's very, very sweet of him, definitely. Yeah.
Johnny, how does that set you up for the next day? You know, mentally, what kind of position does that put you in when you prepare for the Derby coming off of such a big day?
That also give you confidence, you know, when you're riding these kind of horses and the horse is running really good for you. It's a build of confidence, you know. And it's funny because I went out that night and Bob says to me, it's like, that's it. You know, this is all we needed. Now we build up from here, though. You know what I mean? So I know the build up of confidence that your horses out there, they're running for you. You're riding well, and it definitely helps a lot. Absolutely.
And do you think Malathaat could be one of those great fillies? You're the first rider to do the Oaks Derby double since Burrell did it in 2009, and the filly that he rode, of course, was the great Rachel Alexandra. This week, Todd Pletcher's been desperately wanting Rags to Riches to get into the Hall of Fame alongside him. She didn't, sadly. I got the feeling walking over with her and talking to Todd that he thought she was a real one, a proper one, a special one.
Well, I think she's already one of the big horses. You know, I think she's going to continue going forward. Obviously, it's just like horse racing, she needs to stay healthy and so on and so on. But I think she's really is. She's had built up a momentum going forward, and I think her style of running and everything, it suits it really well. You know, for future racing, though, you know, and I think she's definitely is going to be a really good horse. She really is.
What do you think of them considering the Belmont for her? Been there before.
I mean, yes, I've done that before with a filly as well. Absolutely. I mean, listen, if you decide to do that, I think she fits well. She has a great stamina. She looks like that she'll go all day. And yeah, I mean, I hope that I don't have to ride against her. Ride it against her. So let's see what happens, you know. But yeah, absolutely. She's a tough cookie, and I think the distance will suit her perfect. And yeah, what a good horse.
I mean, that's the thought of a Triple Crown, obviously, right? That's what you're saying, that I hope I don't get to ride her, because that means you're prepped for a Triple Crown. How much does that cross your mind, especially at this stage of your career?
Right away. I mean, since we won the Derby, you know, you start thinking, well, here's coming the next one. Well, you know, let's build her up, you know. So you start thinking right away, and you hope that the things can, you know, come together and happen. You know, so I'm still hopeful and and hopefully this little horse comes back and can do the same thing on the Preakness.
Nick, I'm sorry I cut you off earlier.
I was just going to make that point about, you know, these are the two horses who could be going into the Belmont Stakes feasibly as first and second choice if all goes well for Medina Spirit in the Preakness. And I guess you just have to roll with the punches then, Johnny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I'm still thinking that hopefully I can win the Preakness, and then we'll move on to the other thing. So let's go one step at a time.
This was a story that kind of, I would say, caught fire recently, and because it really should have. So many people, Johnny, know you as the incredible rider that you are and know what a class act you are, but this just really put a story to what a classy guy you are. There was a post from someone, and I don't want to mispronounce the name, but I was really taken by what he had to say. Can you pronounce? I know you know who I'm talking about. Can you pronounce his name for me so I don't mess it up?
Yeah, Josue. Josue is another, what I call him, another one of my kids, you know, that I help out, you know, trying to, you know, being a jockey. And I have to give him a lot of credit because he came from Puerto Rico. He had nothing, and he showed up one year at Gulf Stream Park and says, "Man, I want to be a jockey." And I looked at him, and same thing, you know, people looked at the kid. He's very tall. And I said, "How much do you weigh?" It's like, "Well, I'm kind of a little heavy, but I'm working on to, you know, I want to be a jockey." So, well, if you want to do it, you're gonna have to be seriously about it. You're gonna have to watch your weight and really start working really hard. And it's like, and he did ask me about, you know, can you help me to buy the equipment? It's like, go and get it. I'd pay for it. Don't worry about it. You know, so it was very sweet that he put it out there. You know, I mean, he's not the only one that has helped other ones. I don't really have to say who and whatever, but he's been a kid that's, he's always in contact with me, and very good. I'm very happy they do very well. You know, he made himself a jockey. He came in, he wasn't even galloping, and he came to the races every day, get on the equisizer every day, watch the races every day. He did it by himself. I was just a little bit an avenue for him to, you know, to help him to get his dream, basically, you know. So very nice.
I'm going to read out the post for everybody because I just think it's incredibly special, and just goes to show the type of man that you are, Johnny. I came to Florida with almost no money. My plan was to work as a groom or something until I can save up money to buy my riding equipment. So I start learning how to ride, but I meet this guy, John Velazquez, and told him what my plan was. Later that day, he called me and gave me a signed blank check and told me to go to the tack shop and get everything you need. And don't get concerned on how much money you spend. It's on me. Good luck. After I got going, I tried to pay him back so many times, and he will not take money from me. He told me that was a gift. I always wonder what would happen if back then I start working as a groom or something. Sometimes you get into a routine and may very well never snap out of it and accomplish my dream. Maybe. Thank you always, Mr. John Velazquez. He is now a trainer, but you made a dream come true without seeking any sort of reward or anything in return. And you don't have to comment on this because you're so gracious, but I think it just says a lot about the man that you are, Johnny, in this industry. Is just very lucky to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, anytime the kid comes like that, it reminds me of myself. I didn't have any family on the racetrack. I didn't know anything about the racetrack, and everybody thought about I was going to be too tall and never going to make it. And the man who brought me to the racetrack, Tico Garcia, who believed in me, and as a favor, that's how I got into the jockey school, though, as a favor. And I was chosen to go into the jockey school, and I wanted him to make it. I wanted to make him proud. To say, like, listen, you got me here. I'm gonna do my best to do, you know, at least to get through the school and be a jockey and what I want to be. I mean, it's so when he came to me in Florida, and I looked at him, it was like I was looking at myself. You know, I was like, you know what, this kid wants to do it. We better help him because it could be another one like me. And he's done it. He has a nice family. He's been great. He's done really good as a jockey for himself. And it's smaller track, but he's done really well. And now he's on to his new adventure, if you will. But I'm very happy for him because, I mean, every time I saw him, whatever I went that he rode, he always came to me and always very grateful, very, very nice. And I mean, he never forgot how he started. So that's what counts. You know, I don't need anything from him. So I just wanted him for him to do well for himself and have a future, basically. You know?
I mean, you've been a wonderful role model to so many people, and you're continuing to perform at absolutely the top level. You're not going to mind me saying that you are a senior rider. You're 49, but
You are a senior rider.
Johnny, I'm gonna make you feel like a spring chicken right now, because there were four classic races run over the weekend. You won two of them, the Oaks and the Derby. There was the 1,000 and 2,000 guineas in the UK. They were won by Frankie Dettori, older than you, age 50. Looks good, mind, I agree. And surpassing both of you, Kevin Manning.
I didn't know that one.
Yeah, Kevin Manning won the 2,000 guineas, age 54. Now, get this. Kevin Manning rode his first winner when Come On Eileen was #1 in the charts.
Oh, yeah, I gotta,
what is that?
This is really funny. When I was driving back from the airport on Sunday, and Frankie FaceTime me. I was like, Frankie's FaceTiming. He's actually just about to go out and ride, basically. And he's just, me and Frankie very happy and congratulating me and everything. Said, man, go ahead and good luck.
Me later. It's like, it's what? I'm following you, buddy. So he goes and win the whatever it is race. I forgot it was 1,000 guineas or whatever it was. I don't know. And I was like, oh my God. And I texted him back again. It's like, you're the freaking best, brother. You're the freaking best. So for us to be at this age, doing what we're doing, I mean, I think we're older and we appreciate it more, but I think we are enjoying it much better now. Absolutely, yes.
I thought there was a little parallel as well, because obviously you've got, you it's not like you hadn't ridden for Baffert before last year, but you've got this kind of Grade 1 association relatively late in your career with a guy that you've been watching win Grade 1s for 20, 30 years. And it's the same, Dettori's winning the Guineas for Aidan O'Brien, and it's like they've been competing against each other for 30 years, and suddenly he's winning a classic for him. It's as if he just stumbled across him almost. It's not like that, but it just shows that if you're a top quality sports person, you find ways of renewing your career. You find ways of just finding the extra gear when you need it.
Well, if you stick around long enough, I said, this is what I always think. It's like, and I mean, I don't want to just. I don't know how to say it, but I think we're good enough. We love what we do, and we do a good job. I mean, we concentrate on things that we want to do and try to do the best job possible we can do. And I think things comes back at you, though, and things work out for you. And that's the way I always look at it. I think I'm still healthy. I'm healthy. I'm strong, and my mind is still in the business. That I'm still hungry to ride this kind of races. And I'm sure Frankie feels the same way, and Mike Smith feels the same way. And it has kind of take the stigma out of it that when you get in your 40s, hey, you can't do what the younger guys can't do. And I think this is a perfect example of Frankie, Mikey, Mike Smith, by the way, and myself. I've been at this age that that's I have to go away. I'm sorry, but I'm in my car and this thing keeps moving.
No, it's okay. I know we have to let you go soon, but I have to bring up the fact that this conversation has been rolling, and it should have been rolling long before you won your 4th Kentucky Derby. Many say Bill Shoemaker is the greatest of all time, and there have been a lot of people throwing John Velazquez in that ring with Bill Shoemaker as the greatest jockey of all time. What does that make you think?
Oh, it makes me think like I'm getting old. I'm kidding. I'm proud, I mean, for anybody to compare you to, whatever it is that people want to, I'm proud, listen, I'm proud for the things that's happened to me in my career. I actually worked really hard to where we are right now. And for anybody to compare me to him, I'm honored, proud, everything above, you couldn't say anything else. Yes, absolutely.
Well, we're watching the glorious replay again. I'm standing about here at this point as you passed the winning post the first time, and as I saw you on the lead there, I turned to whoever was next to me and I said, "You can stop the race now." What were you thinking when you passed the winning post for the first time?
Once I passed that wire the first time, it's like, man, we're going to be really tough because he was going really comfortable. He was not like he's going rushing into passing the first time for the wire. And I know he's a fighter, and every time the horse come close to him, and he just keep giving him more. Down the lane, that's when you start thinking, all right, let's see how much can he give me, though, and the more I ask him to do it, the more he gave me. And you couldn't be any more proud than the horse like that, though. I mean, when you ask and they give, and you ask and they give, it's a dream come true.
And you had, soup and sandwich to your outside, but we know he'd done too much running early. Were you aware that he'd kind of shot his bolt by this point?
No, actually, I was more concentrating now to making sure who's coming right next to me, and try to keep my horse focused and at least keep the head in front of the other horses. I didn't want to be surprised if somebody comes right on top of me a little early. So no, I was more concentrating on whoever comes next to me, though. So I didn't know what was going on behind me.
You had some serious challenges to your outside, though. At what point did you know that you got it done?
By the 8th pole, I was just like, man, this horse is fighting, man. They're gonna have to run much faster or really away from him where he doesn't see anybody for us to get beat, And obviously, no one in the outside wasn't. The other horse next to me kind of kept my horse fighting, and that's all you ask for, You asked him for a horse to give you everything. He did.
Gotta love the celebrations after. You and Bob Baffert have had so much success, especially recently. What's the key to this pairing here?
I don't know. I have one great ones for Bob in the past, but he's in the West. I'm in the East Coast, and I guess riding a lot for Todd, and it didn't really connect much of it, now I'm older, I got a new agent. I guess my agent also, getting a little more business. So connected more to Bob. And I think that the connection kind of clicked really well, though, and that's the way business goes. You don't know until you try something.
Well, I know our next guest would like to, I'm sure, congratulate you publicly. Gail Rice, who bred this horse, sold for $1,000, but this horse is priceless.
Yes.
Gail.
Yes,
Hi,
congratulations, Gail.
Congratulations to you. I am so thankful that you were riding this horse.
Thank you.
And Gail, you said earlier in the week how it was quite a special moment when you found out that your horse had ended up working and being trained by Bob Baffert. Was it a similar feeling when you found out that 3-time previous Kentucky Derby winning rider Johnny Velazquez was going to ride him?
Oh yes. I mean, other than Jose Ortiz riding him, I mean, who else would I want to ride him?
Thank you.
If it can't be in the family, yep. John Velazquez, not
exactly. But who
not
taught
bad.
those kids what to do? Johnny taught those boys.
That he did. Johnny, I know that you are still busy today and you have got to go ride. So I can't thank you enough for joining us again on Cocktails and Conversation. We will see you next week in Pimlico or at Baltimore. And good luck. Good luck.
Guys, thank you. This has been fun. So thank you for having me.
Cheers, Johnny. Congratulations.
Bye.
Good luck in the 9th.
What a guy, Gail, and what an example as well. And you mentioned, for those who don't know, Jose Ortiz is your son-in-law.
Yes.
And married to your daughter Taylor. And I'm sure you can identify with everything that was said about Johnny V after the race.
Oh my goodness, yes. He is the master.
Are you still on cloud 9? How has the last few days been for you since breeding a Kentucky Derby winner?
Oh my goodness. It's a whirlwind. I have done so many interviews and I've got TV crews coming next week and they're going to film, I guess, the previews for the Preakness kind of things. But I am just overwhelmed with congratulations. And I went to church last night and everybody was like, we watched the race and we prayed for you and your horse and he won. And some of them actually bet on him.
They made a good chunk of change then because he went off at 12-1.
Yes. And then they're like, is he going to win the Preakness? But I had to tell them the story. I said, the hand of God was all over this whole story, the path this horse took, the path I took to get this horse, everything. The hands of God were all over it. And I am just thankful that I have this experience as a tiny little breeder that I am.
Well, Gail, for those that I was gonna say, for those that don't know the story, because it's truly a beautiful one, can you give us the background first of how you got into the breeding industry and how Medina Spirit came to be?
How I got into the breeding industry, I had always wanted to have a mare or two along the way. I started in the racing with the Rice family, Clyde Rice, and I was married to Wayne Rice. And we started in racing. And then when we moved to Florida, I decided that I think everything that was female on my farm, I bred it, and we needed babies, you know. But I got a thoroughbred mare. Let me think about this. I had one or two along the way, quarter horses, but I got a thoroughbred mare when my boss had a stallion named Werblin. I worked for the Gladwells. And I bred her to that stallion. They gave me a share in him. And after that, I was hooked. Then I got another mare. And so I always had like 2 mares and sold their babies as weanlings. And from there, I ended up, it would have been 2017. My ex-husband, Wayne Rice, had this mare, Mongolian Chonga. She was 3 years old and she hurt herself. And he said, would you like her as a brood mare? She's really beautiful. And she didn't have much pedigree, but she could run. And I looked at her and I said, yes, she's beautiful. I think she can make good racehorses. So took her home and sent her to Kentucky and had to pick the stallion. So that was the second chapter.
I mean, that's gotta be a challenge. Go ahead.
That's a big challenge. That's the biggest challenge ever, is to find the right boyfriend for those girls.
Yeah. Well, tell me about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was going to say, Gail, you're working on a budget as well. So it's not like you can choose from any stallion in Kentucky. So what do you go for? Do you research it, or is it just potluck?
Well, I had to do a lot of research. First of all, you're like, my budget was with her, I wanted 7,500 or less. Because I mean, we go to like 10 on our better mares, and even 15 on a better mare. But you know, I'm like 10 and under. But you know, she don't have much pedigree. I'd really like to stick with 7,500 or under. So your choices are very limited. And so commercially, you're thinking, well, first year stallions might be an option, or something that's proven, but they're usually even higher than 15,000. Your proven stallions. For a new mare, you almost want to go with a proven horse for her first baby rather than first time. But pin hookers are always into the first year stallions. If you get a pretty stallion with a pretty mare, you get a pretty baby, athletic, you're going to sell it pretty well. But with her, she didn't have that much pedigree. So I'm like, researching pedigree, hoping it's commercial. First year stallion, TaylorMade offered us 2 mares. If you bred both mares and paid the stud fee, then you would get a lifetime breeding right to Protonico. And they had not this time for 15, I think. And I said, well, Protonico, and I did the match, and I did, you know, lots of research. And I said, she's a pretty good mare to match to that horse. And we had another mare also that was a decent match. So we took them both over to Protonico. And this mare got pregnant. The other one didn't. So I didn't get the lifetime breeding right.
But you did get a Derby winner.
I got the Derby winner, so I'm not complaining.
I'd say you might have a lifetime breeding right now, Gail. I wouldn't worry about that.
I could ask for a lifetime breeding right.
Yeah. They might let you into. I tell you what, they'd let you into Protonico with Shanks's pony if you tried, I reckon. Now we're going to bring in the 4th member of our team, Brittany, because Mark Tubridy has been a little late today with his.
Yes, I have been. Hey guys, congratulations, Gail.
Thank you so much, Mark.
It was an amazing race. Absolutely amazing. Amazing horse.
Do you mind hanging with us? Hanging with us while Mark makes a drink, and then we'll continue along the Medina Spirit Road.
Sure.
There's so much to talk about there. I know that the real story is, of course, this amazing Derby, but yesterday was also Cinco de Mayo too. So I think I'd be remiss if I didn't make a quick margarita with you guys, if you're cool with that.
I'm cool.
Always.
Awesome. So Gail, maybe you've seen the show before. So I always kind of like, geek out about all these different obscure styles of drinks, right? And, we have common ones like the sour or the Collins that most people know. But one that I think a lot of people don't know about is actually the Daisy. Now, the Daisy is an old style of drink that actually is similar to a sour in that it calls for a spirit, a citrus, and a sugar, but it also specifically calls for an orange liqueur. And then it also had a little club soda on top. But we're going to push that aside. If you take a look at the Daisy, so a spirit, citrus, and orange liqueur, doesn't that sound kind of familiar? So the drink that we're about to make, that margarita, fits the bill, I think, pretty well for a Daisy. So what's really interesting about that is that actually margarita in Spanish translates to daisy. So cocktail nerds like me think, well, maybe is that where it came from? Is that the story? So it could be, but we have two main challenges to that. Two claims to the creation of the margarita. The first comes from a Carlos Danny Herrera. He was a Tijuana bartender back in the 1950s. And he claims to have invented the drink for a young up-and-coming actress at the time named Marjorie.
Daisy?
What's that? No, not Daisy.
Thought there was a top here.
But a young up-and-coming actress named Marjorie. And I'm blanking on her last name at the moment, but it'll come back to me. But he said that he created this drink for her because she was allergic to every spirit except for tequila. So he wanted to come up with this drink that was really special for her and then name it after her, because Marjorie in Spanish would also translate to margarita. So that's story number one. But story number two comes from a Margarita Sames, who was a Dallas socialite around the same era. And she says that she served the very first margarita at her Acapulco vacation home to her guests there. And we don't know, as with many cocktails, what the real story is. But we do know that the margarita is absolutely delicious and one of the most popular cocktails in the world. So today we're going to show you how to make a fantastic passion fruit margarita. Yes,
Gail, does this appeal to you?
Well, I would do it without the alcohol, but yes.
Okay.
A mocktail. Yes, 100%.
I would love a mocktail.
So
what would you substitute tequila for, or how would you make a tequila based cocktail?
You just remove it, don't you?
Well, you could do that, or you could do fresh lime juice, a little fresh orange juice to sort of mimic the triple sec, and then maybe some agave nectar. And then what I would do is maybe add some club soda or something to kind of lengthen it out so it's not too tart. So in a sense, you'd have a really interesting sort of agave-based limeade, which could still be absolutely delicious in the warmer months.
Oh, I'm going to have to try that.
Yeah. So today we're going to be making a passion fruit margarita. I'm going to pull out my fancy tools here. And we are going to start with this passion fruit syrup, which I know sounds really complicated, but I always on the show, I try to show you guys that it's not as difficult as it seems. So what I like to do is I go to the store, and if they have the frozen passion fruit pulp, get one of those and just let it thaw out, and then combine equal parts of agave nectar in there. Just whisk in the agave nectar. You don't even need to cook it, in with the passion fruit, and you get this beautiful orange syrup like this. You can use this in a classic hurricane, which we've done on this show before. But I love passion fruit and margaritas. And I think this would also go very well in a mocktail margarita too. So that's another way, Gail, that you can kind of infuse a little bit more flavor in there without necessarily adding the alcohol.
Oh, it sounds great.
That looks yummy.
All right, so we're going to start off with 3/4 of an ounce of our passion fruit syrup. So again, just some passion fruit pulp that you get from the store, frozen. Let it thaw out, and then whisk in some agave nectar, or even just regular sugar if you'd like to do that. But I like the agave because it blends very easily. And now, of course, what would a margarita be without some fresh lime juice? This is the key here. I know I say it every single week, but fresh citrus will make all the difference in your cocktails. I know it can be tempting. Those pre-made margarita mixes, they're so easy. They're sitting on the shelf, but they just no, they don't do it. Yeah. I don't even know if they're that much more affordable either. Fresh limes when they're in season, I here at my store, I get 13 limes for $2, which is a great deal. And then you get that improved quality on your cocktail.
I'm pretty sure that's how many limes my dad puts in his margarita. About 13.
Oh, yeah? Hopefully he's matching that with the tequila as well. I hope he doubles that.
Mark, Jeff says passion fruit's hard to find.
You know what? Depending on your store, I'm sort of fortunate because I live in an area that has a lot of sort of Spanish grocery stores.
Yeah.
So Goya makes all of those brands
They
of
have all of
frozen. Yeah. So, but I agree that can be a little difficult if your store doesn't have that. I know there are certain things like Perfect Purée. There are brands that actually cater to these sort of cocktail, frozen fruit pulp. So you could probably order that online, or maybe if you order Amazon Fresh or something, give it a check and see if they'll deliver that too. But I know that can be a challenge. Here, I'm lucky. They've got guava, they've got tamarind, anything that I want to completely, go crazy with, go ham with.
Go crazy.
So we did an ounce of fresh lime juice into our cocktail shaker. And now the next thing that we want to do, of course, is some triple sec. So Gail, I would, to keep this non-alcoholic, some orange juice is going to sort of mimic the flavor of this orange liqueur. So a little fresh orange juice would be a great mocktail variation. I've mentioned this before. If you're going to invest in one type of liqueur for your bar cart, triple sec is a great one to have because you could do a sidecar, a cosmopolitan, of course, a great margarita. So it's a very versatile liqueur that you can have in your bar cart here. So we're going to add 3/4 of an ounce. This is going to match the passion fruit. The one thing you want to keep in mind, this Cointreau is actually 40% by volume. So that is just as strong as your tequila. So, you might see these days, actually, a lot of people are starting to put some agave nectar into their margaritas. And even though that's not a traditional recipe, I understand the rationale because in a sense, if you're relying only on your triple sec for sweetness, there's no way to increase the sweetness without increasing the strength of the cocktail. Right. So in that sense, I kind of understand people putting a little agave nectar because if you're happy with the strength of the cocktail, but you want it a little bit sweeter, agave nectar is a great way of keeping with the theme, increasing the sweetness, but not overdoing it on the alcohol itself.
Mark, this is going to put hairs on my chest, I think.
I think it's going to. So the classic margarita, you've got tequila, 40% by volume, Cointreau, 40% by volume. We throw in a little lime juice just for giggles. But I mean, really, yeah, it's a lot of alcohol. But I was actually, believe it or not, I was working an event during the Derby on Saturday. So I didn't have any big TV or anything, but I did make sure I looked on my phone. Right, I knew the time, and I looked down real fast, and it was such an incredible race. And Medina Spirit, Gail, the way that he just took that commanding lead, and then with all that pressure, it didn't phase him at all. So it was really amazing to watch. Even at the end, it looked like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse running towards the finish line. But but he was hanging in there. He did amazing.
I mean, with lines like that, why aren't you on this telecast? I mean, why bring in Iceland?
I was wondering the same thing. And he claims he doesn't know anything about horse racing, Gail.
Gail, what I never did ask you the other day is where you were and who you were watching it with, and what was your experience of actually watching the race?
I was on the front side in a box seat with my daughter and my 2 grandchildren in the jockey box seats.
Oh, so you were right there. You were right there on the line.
Standing on my seat with my camera up, trying to videotape it. And then when he came down the stretch, I totally lost my picture, and I was just screaming and running and jumping up and down.
Well, when Mark finishes his cocktail over here, I found a great photo of you right after, and we have to share. But after Mark finishes his cocktail, and I want to hear what was going through your head at that moment.
All right, guys. So we are going to shake this cocktail up now. Gail, sometimes on this show, as I shake, we think about all the accomplishments of our guests, and I know you have many, but I also want to think about all the future ones because you are going to be this top tier breeder with all these amazing horses. So we're gonna think about the future as well as the past.
But let's declare it.
The truth of it is, Mark, get shaking because I can still reel off all the races that Medina Spirit is going to win for the rest of the year, and
let's do it.
And go on to the Clavers, and I think then you'll have a little bit of a break, and does he then have a prep for the Breeders' Cup Classic? Maybe the autumn again, maybe the Cup World Cup. Who knows? He's going to win all those races, and he'll go a clean sweep through the season. But exactly. But what we should recognise is that Gail is not a breeder of 1 Grade 1 performer in the last 12 months, but 2.
Right.
As we said the other day on the podcast, like 2.5 mares, and you bred 2 Grade 1 winners in a year. So That's not that you don't fluke that. You can fluke one, but not two.
It's just unreal, surreal. They call it. It's just crazy. And I'm just enjoying it because who else could do this? I mean, how many people can experience what I'm feeling right now?
But does it make you want to get stuck in more and do it, or do you realize now that you're operating at a level and that's the level you're going to stay at?
I'm going to keep doing it at the level I'm in. I'm not upgrading. I'm not spending more money. My goal is to keep doing what I do, what I've done, because it can work every time. I'm not saying every time, but it can work. It can continue to work.
And you've shown that with your grade 1 winner speech, grade 1 winner, Medina Spirit. Here for you can't share your secrets. I know this because, for breeders, finding those matchings and everything, it's so difficult. But
it is.
And it is, how much of it do you think is a little bit of luck, and then the rest is really finding that pairing, and then also how they are brought up as a young horse?
Yes. It's really important in their initial upbringing from when they come out, even how you touch them the first day. I mean, I feel like that is so important, what that baby learns from day one and how it relates to humans, because humans handle them the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And that's really important to me. And I pray that my babies get in good hands. And I was fortunate that speech went to really good people and Medina Spirit went to really good people.
There is nothing
so important.
I mean,
I
do identify with it because I'm like, I attempt to breed thoroughbreds at an even more kind of basement level than Gail's been doing. I'm
kidding.
Yeah, no, seriously, $5,000-$6,000 stallions, and
I was sitting right next to him when a horse that he bred won a race. He was going nuts.
Exactly. But the first horse the first foal that I bred that ran, she ran in a tiny little maiden race. Right at the beginning of her 3-year-old career, she was about 15 hands. I'd sold her as a foal. Brittany was with me. We was at Gulfstream Park, and Brittany had the phone, and I was watching a race from Newcastle in England, and she won at 25-1, and I went completely wild. Completely wild.
That's what we do as breeders.
Yeah. But this is like the tiniest fragment of a microcosm of a scintilla of what it's just blows my mind what you've achieved. It really does, and I think it gives hope to all of us and to so many people who think I'll never compete with Coolmore, I'd never compete with Sheikh Mohammed, I'd never compete with Juddmonte.
They spent millions of dollars to do what I did with a $5,000 stud and a mare that was given to me. And it's it's all divine intervention,
It gives people faith. It really does. Cheers to that. And Mark, let's see the beautiful margarita.
Yes, that is our passion fruit margarita. Nice and refreshing. It does, right? It's a bright color. We get that beautiful color from the passion fruit, that tropical flair as well.
That looks delicious.
So again, whoever it's named after, Margarita Sames, Marjorie King, who knows? But it's a delicious drink. And cheers to you, Gail.
And
thank you so much.
Just be careful putting that much radiation near your body, Mark.
I can feel the third eye coming out around here.
Somebody said I caught lightning in a bottle, and I think it's right there.
It might be right now.
I think I need to tone down the brightness on this camera. Let's see.
Hey, Gail, Kim Shaw's been in touch. She says, "Can't wait to congratulate you in person at Triple Cross Church, Gail." Now, this is where you worship? This was where everybody was rooting for Medina,
yes.
And this is in Florida.
Yes.
Excellent.
It's my cowboy church.
Mm-hmm.
So next
cowboy church.
So Sunday will the vicar he'll make sure that he will recognize Medina Spirit's achievement.
They were all watching the race live.
I love it. They're all going to watch the Preakness live.
They will be on the Preakness as well, I'm sure. But I went to church last night, actually, and I had to tell the story.
Oh, brilliant.
And most of them saw it on Facebook, the videos.
So Gail, I find this interesting. You talk about, you know, the birth of a horse and how immediately you want them to have a good experience with humans because they are going to be around them for the rest of their lives. And for Medina, it wasn't always an easy road, right? And you can't train heart into a horse, but he has so much of it. How much do you think that his birth and what, you know, you went through in terms of the mare not producing milk initially, how much do you think that experience, you know, it turned him into the horse that he is today?
Probably because we had to handle him a little bit more than normal foals would be handled. He had to get a bottle and be fed that milk. So he had to be touched and handled, and he was trying to get up. So we had to kind of hold him down, but he really went for that bottle. He was very, very attentive right away. He was interested in nursing. He wanted to be there, and it didn't hurt when the mare was starting to produce milk within the hours that he was very, you know, aggressive or assertive with her and saying, "Come on, mommy, I need some." You know, some foals will just be like lackadaisical and you have to encourage them. I never had to encourage this horse. He wanted to do everything he's ever done. And he's always been inquisitive and come to the people. He's a people horse too, which I love when they're that way. Because then they show their personality and they come over to me and then I can hug them and kiss them and give them all that good stuff.
Go ahead, Nick.
No, I was just saying it sounds like he was easy to handle as a foal, easy to break, laid back. Yeah, when you know, jockey like John Velazquez rides thousands of horses every year, and you know, he clearly just found an affinity with him, found a rapport. He warmed to the horse. And there's plenty of good ones who don't try very hard, and there's plenty of very, very average ones who do try quite hard and overachieve. He's a good one who does try hard, and it's magic.
Yes, he never gives up the way it looks. I mean, I look at it and I'm like, he can win the Preakness. He can do anything. This horse has it in him. His heart is that big.
I'm sure you followed him from day one. Once he got into Bob's barn, he made his debut at Los Alamitos, and then they put him into a stakes race, ran into Life is Good, almost caught him. So for you, at what point throughout his entire life did you know what, I bred something that's quite special. This horse might be something.
It was that race. I knew Life is Good went in there as the heavy favorite. And when he ran that well with that horse, I was like, whoa, look at him go. And it's like, that's my baby.
How rewarding is that for you to have seen them grown up, sold for $1,000, then $35,000 to reach truly the pinnacle of this sport? I mean, how rewarding is that for you?
It's beyond rewarding. I mean, it brings me such joy, and I'm going to cry, knowing that I had a part of this. You know, through me, this horse went where he went. It was like he started with me, and God put him with me because he had given me the training up to that point. I was in situations before that where I learned what I needed to know to help that baby come into this world in the proper way.
That's where it begins, right, Nick? I mean, this is a show put together by the Breeders' Cup to honor the breeders, which for where we would be nowhere. This industry wouldn't be anywhere without the breeders. The
other thing, and I kind of hope Gail's an inspiration to everyone worldwide who wants to get into horse racing. Because I don't know if you can hear me, Gail, but I'll carry on for a little bit. People who have a little bit of money and they want to get in the game, they straight away, they go out, they buy expensive horses. That's what they do. They buy either yearlings or they buy something ready-made, or they get into a horse that's already won. They're trying to cut down their risk a little bit, but they're paying a premium to do so.
Yeah.
I always think you could pay a tenth of that to get in right at the beginning. And if you get in right at the beginning, and it costs you a bit along the way, there'll be some that fall by the wayside, some that do well. But your level of satisfaction, if it comes to fruition, will be just a thousandfold. You know, imagine these hedge fund managers who are spending millions and millions on horses. Imagine if they've been involved right from the beginning and seen that horse as a foal. They are going to get 1,000 times the satisfaction out of it.
Oh, it is just tremendous. tremendous. Just to be pulling that baby out and knowing that, you know, you're anticipating a beautiful horse, and then when they come out beautiful like that, it's like I have bought a couple yearlings since I've had this mare and sold the babies, and it's not as gratifying to me as I bought 2 mares in February, because I'm like, no, I have more fun and more gratification breeding the mares and and seeing those babies run and run well.
But let's see that visual of true elation and gratification of the hard work that you put in coming to fruition last Saturday in the Kentucky Derby. This is the best photo. Gail, this is what horse racing's all about. That feeling right there. Oh no, do we lose
There
it?
it is.
Unbelievable.
That's it right there. And you can now, I was screaming as loud as I could scream.
I can hear that photograph. Yeah.
Well, Gail, I can't thank you enough for joining us this afternoon, this evening. It has been a true pleasure to hear your story, your passion for this sport. How do you keep yourself grounded until next Saturday? What will you do?
How do I keep myself grounded? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Just don't.
Yeah.
You can't.
Keep flying.
I just have to keep going and distract myself a little bit, and yeah, I'm just still flying. I'm gonna fly right through the Preakness.
That's the exact answer I wanted. Gail, thank you. Good luck on Saturday and next Saturday, I should say. And congratulations once again.
Thank
Absolute
you so
hero.
much.
Thanks, Gail.
It's been a pleasure.
Great.
Gail, such a pleasure. Thank you.
Gosh, that was awesome. I love that. I really do hope that it gives people, you know, hope and interest in breeding. Maybe then rather buying a horse, they say, okay, because as you mentioned, Nick, the satisfaction that you'll receive seeing that horse grow up from day one, getting to the races is immense.
Well, say there's 10 of you and you want to go into a syndicate. Why couldn't you have 10 of you go in to a, you know, to a mare in foal? Or I don't know. I think getting people in at the, you know, at the ground level is something we don't explore enough.
Yeah.
If Gail, people like Gail, breeders like Gail, would probably welcome, you know, partners to come in and breed horses with them and whatever. And I think the more people you have right at the ground level, the healthier the sport is as a whole. Would be. Otherwise, you just get huge behemoths churning them out and huge ownership groups, you know, racing them. So, I think it's wonderful. I've gone to see, guys. Will you just talk amongst yourselves for 30 seconds because my glass is empty.
Okay. And you need to
go for it.
For our final segment, you need to take a glass of wine.
And sadly, the butler's gone to bed, so it will be.
My tequila bottle's empty. I don't know.
What have you been doing, Mark? Finishing that tequila bottle, huh?
It's not just me. It's consulting gigs and things like that. I promise.
Sure. I am so sure that exactly what's happening with your tequila bottle.
I was well behaved yesterday. I wanted to kind of get a preview of the margaritas for today, but no, I've been doing a lot of cocktail kits and trying to spread the love out to my future students. So really, really excited to be working on that. But yeah, going through a little bit of tequila in the process.
Well, I was going to say, give us a brief update while Nick is well, that was fast. That's no time at all. I'm going to ask Mark about how the cocktail kits and whatnot is going.
It's been going very well. Yeah, I mean, so, you know, Jasmine, who does exist, is being very patient with me. I know. We basically have a factory. We have a warehouse in here. So I've got more bottles of Angostura bitters on my table and cocktail kits and syrups and fruit, but it's good. We did 27 kits this past week. Hopefully we'll keep that momentum going.
You have a warehouse in your house?
I've got a warehouse in my 3-bedroom apartment in Bushwick. Well, I don't know how they coexist, but
like a cellar or what?
No. Just kind of figuratively speaking. I'm trying to get all the boxes out for this particular order. So I've got, you know, our office, which is just probably the size of a bathroom, is sort of doubling as our warehouse, is, for lack of a better term. So we're making it work.
We're getting in trouble because we're off the rundown. We're late.
Yeah.
So Nick, a special final segment.
Yeah, well, it is special, but it's sad as well for us, because this show is the brainchild of the man who has been. I mean, I've always liked to describe him as the minister of fun at the Breeders' Cup, but it sells him very, very short. He's been the media and entertainment supremo at Breeders' Cup for the best part of 2 decades, and he has brought the joy of horse racing into so many people's lives, particularly ours. But for him, the three of us would never have met. But for him, certainly Brittany and I would never have shared the many telecasts that we have. And I'm going to try not to get too emotional, but this is his last show in his current role before moving on to pastures new. So we will welcome him in, Mr. Peter Rotundo. We salute you.
What's
Up, Pete?
going on?
Well,
Nice to see you on this side.
Yeah, right. As we do all of our guests, where are you today?
So we're at a little drinks for me. This is my last night in Manhattan and last night in our office. We actually, our New York office got back together for the first time since March of 2020. We've actually walked in and we saw the calendars was still on March 2020, which was insane. So we're having some drinks at a place called The Greens in the Seaport downtown. Look how cool this is.
So, somehow you managed to win the award for best background on this show, and you were the producer.
2 years of delivering some of the biggest names in the sport of thoroughbred racing. You know, from Baffert to Velazquez to Bailey to you know, everybody that you could possibly think of. Bo Derek. And somehow you've managed to upstage them all with your backdrop. What are you drinking?
It's like high C.
Well, you know, my new, I mean, I'd say protege, but she's taken over. Haley Amos sent us over some champagne and also some of this Bahama Mama something. I don't even know what it is.
Okay.
But I've been drinking since 4:00 over here, so everything's been great though. I can't.
Well, your team put a little something special together for our final cocktails and conversation with the mastermind behind it. So if they are ready, Miss Jordan and Haley, let's roll it.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
My name is Peter Rotundo. Welcome to The Score. He had purple hair yesterday. Does he still have it today? Can you tell?
Oh, yeah. Okay. We're talking about your purple hair. Can you see it?
I'm sorry, and you got to do it. I got to go. I got to do it? You got to do it and do it right. Do it. Why?
Oh, there we go.
Oh man,
That was a big thing.
That was my birthday.
What's your greatest score?
I can't thank you so much, but the best is yet to come. Thank you very much.
Oh, nice.
Oh man,
that was the first time I saw that.
Oh,
beautiful.
that's so nice.
Thank you, honestly. Like, I mean, I'm gonna tear up if I keep talking, but honestly, we wouldn't be here without you. So thank you. Look at me.
And I know for sure that I would not be here without you, Pete. So thank you for bringing me into the fold and introducing me to this family, which has honestly been a rock for me. You know, these past year and a half at least. But you know, of the many things that I admire about you, you're always cool, always nice. I don't think I've ever seen anyone that can handle pressure and different situations the way that you can. Just always respectful and always kind. You're a great human being and a great friend.
No, so thank you. No, well, you guys, listen, as I've said to you guys, I know you probably don't believe it, but this past year and a half, this is the most fun I've ever had, right? I mean, like, talk about looking forward to something every week. Like, this has been just the most fun you could possibly have. And the idea we get paid somehow to do it. But without you guys, I mean, there's such, you're the best at what you do. Both three of you. You know that. I know that. Everybody knows that. So, anyway, hey, you're going to make me sad.
Double down on the Bahama Mama.
I'm not going to get there. Anyway, so, but thank you. Yeah. Thanks for everything. And you're in good hands, and it's going to keep going, and it's going to be great. And I can't wait. I'm going to be watching, and it's going to be, we got a lot more to do. This is, taking a break. Listen, I got a beautiful wife, the baby. We're going to chill for a bit, and then we'll be back at it. And when the phone rings, you answer the phone when I call.
There are some people in life, certain people in life, that you always answer the phone to. He's right there.
Thank you.
He's right there.
Thank you, guys.
Nick would be saying, "Well, that I see him getting choked up already." So let's end with something fun, as we would have to do on this show for you, Pete.
Okay.
Mark has something. Mark has something just for you.
We are making. Because I wasn't here for the beginning of the show, I don't know how we advertised it. But we're doing a surprise cocktail called the Rotundo in your honor. Yep. So we were joking a couple weeks back because I was going through all the different cocktails for the boroughs of New York. Right. So there was the Bronx, the Brooklyn, of course, the Manhattan. But I did mention the Staten Island Ferry. Yes. And I know you're from Staten Island. And that cocktail we will not be making because it is literally a glorified Malibu and, Malibu and pineapple juice. So instead, we're going to be doing an elevated version of that because you, sir, are elevated. So we're going to make the Rotundo right now. We're going to take. I know you can't do it along with me, but maybe the Bahama Mama might be somewhere in the realm of what we're about to do. So for all of our viewers at home, if you happen to have these ingredients, we are going to make. We're going to have some fresh lime juice, just like we did for our margarita earlier. We are going to do some coconut ginger syrup. So this is in place of that Malibu, right? Again, Pete, you're elevated, you're sophisticated. Nothing against Malibu, but I got to take it up a notch. So what I did to make this is basically take some coconut milk and just blend it with some peeled ginger. You get all of that great flavor from the ginger, and you just strain it out. You're going to get the spice. You're going to get the creaminess from the coconut. And then that's going to balance out nicely with the lime. But of course, we need the pineapple juice as well. And now, here's the funny thing. I mean, Malibu rum and pineapple, I know it makes sense. But again, after a year and a half of doing cocktails and conversation with over probably, 35 bourbon cocktails right now, somewhere when I think your name, I think bourbon. So we're going to be doing this cocktail with Maker's Mark instead. So in your honor, Pete, we're going to start with a little bit of lime juice here. We're going to do 3/4 of an ounce.
Behind the scenes, because you're normally the one that would be doing the rundown, you saw a fake rundown, and then there was an entire email chain with the group that said, "Don't show Pete."
So my original idea was actually to send a recipe that sounded.
Yeah. I didn't see either of them.
Surprise, surprise.
No one's surprised.
So Pete, my original idea was to actually send a fake cocktail for you to see that was going to be like foul. I was going to do like blended asparagus and like rye whiskey. And being that it would be your last show, I was going to see if you actually said anything. And then we're going to swap it out for this. So next we're going to add our coconut ginger syrup. We're going to do the same amount that we did for the lime juice. So 3/4 of an ounce. Again, this is going to really add a nice creaminess, but also that spice at the end.
Make sure it has the creaminess.
We had to end with one, right? And now some pineapple juice as well. So let's add 1 ounce of pineapple juice.
Perfect.
And 2 ounces of bourbon.
Is this shaken or stirred?
This is swizzled.
Swizzled.
Swizzled. Again, I had to do something special for Pete. So swizzling, I'm going to get into the topic of swizzling a little bit more another day, but it's really interesting because
So
there's an actual type of stick called a swizzle stick, and it literally it grows just wild in nature, but it's really cool because it basically has, this is not it, this is a spoon, but it has prongs that stick out on every side, and then when you insert that into the glass and you swizzle, all the different prongs stop, Nick, are going to really agitate the ice and chill the cocktail very quickly. So I'm going to try to just keep focusing.
Agitated ice.
Agitated ice.
That's another good horse name.
Yeah,
that is a good horse name, to be fair.
Agitated ice.
Swizzle.
But the other one that we were going to do was the Covert Rotundo, was as a horse name, because that was supposed to be this covert drink, the Covert Rotundo. So let's add some crushed ice here so we can start the swizzling.
When are you going to get your swizzle stick out for us, Mark? Which episode? Just so I know.
I'm just going to do a hard pass on that. So remember, to swizzle...
I'm so happy he jumped on with us right now. Like, he's so
you put the spoon in between your palms and then just rotate back and forth.
Yeah, always.
Pete, I don't know if you can see it, but you have so much love.
That's an age-old technique you're exhibiting there, Mark, isn't it?
Yeah, you can just crack me up here. And we're going to top with more crushed ice.
Jeff Hall says, how about the Pete as a horse name? Probably taken, but I like it.
Thank you.
You like it?
I like it.
All right, guys. So we've got a nice mound of crushed ice on top. We're going to make this extra fancy for Pete. We're going to add some mints. We are going to slap the mint one last time for you, Pete.
Aw.
And we're going to top with Angostura bitters. Now, on top of the crushed ice, this is going to create a really nice layered effect, and it's going to introduce some nice spice to the top of our cocktail as well. So this is what it looks like here.
Wow.
Pete, that is your Rotundo. This is the elevated Staten Island Ferry because you, my friend, are not basic in any way, shape, or form. Cheers, bud.
And as you drink to that, Pete, can I just take you back to Keeneland when a young lady came up to us, handed me her phone, and said to me, "Can you take a picture of me with Peter Rotundo? I loved him on Horse Players." And the sheer joy you took in that little moment.
That was the best. That was one of the best moments of my life. The idea that you had to take a photo of me with someone was so great. But then you got it right back, because then that other woman came up to me. It was like, is that Nick Luck? Yes, it is. It's Nick Luck.
The damage was done by then.
I know. It was great. But listen, thank you. I mean, obviously, thanks for everything. And listen, shout out, while we're shouting everybody out, the Grand Slam girls, listen, they kill it every week. They kill it everywhere they go. And without them, none of this is possible. And let's shout out Herb Karlitz, right? Without Herb, we don't know each other. And he doesn't reach out to Mark, and then we don't get rolling either. So there's a lot of people that got this going, and it really, I mean, when we look back in a couple of years, I mean, like, this was the moment in time. I mean, it took us through the worst thing we'll ever be involved with in our whole lives. And every Thursday, we laughed and had a great time. And we made so many people happy, right? I mean, that's, at the end of the day, that's actually happened. And we're going to look back and we're going to be like, oh my God, we did that. And it was so much fun. So anyway, thank you guys. Because without you, we don't do it either. So it's all one big happy family.
Cheers to that. Pete, we love you. Now go celebrate and don't be a stranger.
You're the very best. The very best. And this sport owes you a huge debt.
All right.
Cheers,
love you guys.
Thank you so much. We love you too, bud.
All right.
Hey, hats off to the entire Breeders' Cup and Grand Slam social team, because that video was epic. And yes, we are all here together today, not just with this show, but I think, as you said, Nick, in general, working together because of that man. So,
and you know what? There's a lot of you out there who will know Pete, and I know a lot of people who are watching now who are friends of ours. But the sport has this internal conversation the whole time, and is permanently kind of wrestling with itself, whether it's for the serious horse player, or the person who is deeply entrenched in the game, and it doesn't really want it to change too much. And people who say that, it should just be, frippery and fun and superficial and the surface. And in Peter Rotundo, you've got someone who can marry those two worlds and do it so effectively, and has done so for so long. He's got absolute passion for the sport right down to its grassroots, but has brought so much energy and a real vibrancy to what he's done and to Breeders' Cup over the years. And he's given it so much of its identity. And I'm he's done more for me than probably just about any other person in this business, apart from members of my own family. So on a personal note, I will miss him enormously.
Get hot, stay hot, as Mr. Rotundo would say. Cheers.
Exactly.
Cheers, guys.
Don't forget, as we wrap up our week 5 Cocktails and Conversation, no show next week as it is the Preakness, but we will be back in 2 weeks' time. So looking forward to that. Yeah, I'll miss you in Pimlico.
Oh, well, yeah, it's, to be fair, let's face it, it's going to be a welcome relief. I'm not sure. I'm never sure whether I'm a positive influence on your mindset or not, but yeah, last week was great, and
mostly positive influence.
It was great to be back with you guys, and frankly, there's been far too much sincerity in the last hour and a half. I need to be back to piss taking in 2 weeks' time.
Well,
the second cocktail didn't offer you enough of the opportunity for quips, Nick.
Mark.
All right. With that, Mark, do not be late in 2 weeks' time. Okay, we're putting the clock on for you.
No, best behavior.
All right. Cheers, everybody. Thank you for
guys.
joining us. This was really a special show. We will see you in 2 weeks' time. Good night. Good afternoon.